Coming up on Baseball Tonight, will tempers continue to flare in Milwaukee? Oh, Henry, can the Expos continue their sweet success? Boston hopes to keep its momentum in Seattle, and the Dodgers try to shut down the Mets, while the Tigers try to just hang on. In Philly, Mark Whitten does some hard hitting. Will Clark and the Rangers try to flip the Twins. We'll catch you up on everything without giving you the runaround. We're here to satisfy your big appetite. Strike up the band. Baseball Tonight is next. Hello once again, everybody. I'm Chris Berman along with Peter Gammons, and welcome to Baseball Tonight. No June swoon here. In fact, I think when you talk about the Cleveland Indians, Peter, and again, they are the topic, things are heating up for them. I mean, they're in a cauldron every day. It's tough enough to repeat as they're trying to do in the AL, but to have things, Albert Belle incidents, etc., I mean, they got really people gunning for them in more ways than one.
They really do. It can work two ways. One, it could be a rallying cry. They could say, all right, everybody's against us, the world's against us, and use that. But I'm afraid all the run-ins with the umpires and the media and all the other distractions may end up costing them winning the World Championship they should win someday. Yeah, you expend a little extra energy earlier in what you need in September and October. Well, we'll see. Friday and Saturday were buttes certainly between the Indians and the Milwaukee Brewers. Would Sunday prove that June is busting out all over? Here we go. Cleveland and Milwaukee. Albert Belle, Phil Garner. Need we say more? Two guys with, who may go at you if you are provoked, but except for an early brushback pitch of Loft in the first pitch of the game, nothing doing. It was things like doubles by Jim Thome, scoring Murray and Alomar, 4-0 Indians. But with Matheny at third, Cirillo at second, Vina at first in a 4-2 game in the second. Hershiser's pitch is called. Phil Culver looked like a call strike through. He might have called it, said no. Grover looks on, and then Oro loses control. A walk here, and it's 4-3. Well, the inconsistency with both his fastball, particularly his breaking ball, has been the big problem for Oro there. I think he got frustrated with that second pitch and lost control there. He got frustrated again. Balk. In comes the run.
Cirillo scores, and we're tied at 4. Mike Hargrove about to talk about it. Now it's a 5-5 game in the top of the sixth with Thome at first base. Alvaro Espinosa. Back. I mean, when the number 9 hitter is going deep, I mean, this is the talent that the Indians have. The home run off Scott Good Dog Carl made it 7-6. Manny Ramirez, he hit a home run at 12. Franco hit his 8th. Ramirez went 3 for 4. And the Indians beat the Brewers 11-6. They don't face each other again till August the 23rd. But you might want to write that down. Oro, 4 innings pitched, 6 runs, 10 hits, and that's got to be some concern, certainly for Mike Hargrove and company. Tigers and White Sox. We'll get back to the Indians and Brewers in a minute. Game 1, double dip at Comiskey. Isaac and line drive. Curtis Pride coming on, can't make the catch. Everybody is safe. The base is loaded in the bottom of the 5th inning. 2 batters later in a 1-1 game. Mark Lewis, slow roller. Travis Fryman, oh no! It stayed fair, and Guillen got the 3rd. Durham scored at Pseudo and White Sox. Bottom of the 8th, still a 2-1 game. Lyle Mouton off the youngster Justin Thompson, who pitched well. Home run is 3rd of the year for Mouton. And now with a 4-2 game in the top of the 9th, Roberto Hernandez having a big year. Gets Alan Trammell on a comebacker. 16 straight saves for Hernandez. Hey, 2 rookie pitchers pitched very well. James Baldwin, who in 8 innings gave up only 3 hits to up his mark to 5-1, retired 14 at one point. The number 1 pick in the 91 draft for the Tigers was Jason Thompson. In his 2nd lifetime start, gets the loss, but 7 1/3, 6 hits against the White Sox is a very good job. Well, they tried it again, did those Tigers. And in game number 2 in the bottom of the 5th inning, Chad Kruger. Down the left field line, Harold Growing Baines around to score. It's 5-2 Sox. 2 batters later with the bases loaded, Ozzie Guillen, base hit to right. Melvin Davis, Ventura scores. Kruger scores. 5-run 5th for the White Sox. Made it 7-2. And when you add it all up, not again. 13-5. The White Sox win this one as Kirk McCaskill went 5 innings. One of our friends. Excellent hockey player. And today he was a good pitcher. Ups his mark to 4-2. Frank Thomas hit home run number 16. Danny Tartabull hit home run number 6. So if you add up the 4-game sweep by the White Sox and couple it with the 3-game sweep a week ago, 7 for 7, outscoring the Tigers 75-22. Ouch, babe. So Thompson, by losing 4-2, that's certainly a moral victory for Detroit. And there will be better days for Buddy Bell and company. Let's get back, though, to the talk this weekend, Peter, about the Cleveland Indians and the Milwaukee Brewers. Let's go right to what happened Friday night in case you missed it, to refresh your memory. Top of the third inning, Albert Belle's at first. Murray hit the ground ball, and Bell, that's certainly allowable as he hits Vina, who had been able to get the double play. But then in the eighth, Marshall wraparound Bose hits Bell with the pitch. The next man up is Eddie Murray, and watch what happens. Boom.
Oh, this is just like the play in the third inning. And it was
But Bell is still fuming in the dugout.
Back in the third inning this time.
Even though he rearranged Vina's face. The ninth inning, Terry Burrows, what do you think's coming? What do you think, Peter?
He throws one over his head. Okay, that's the answer to what happened to his second baseman. Then he drills him. Well, listen, people around the Indians say Albert is not going to start getting ejected from games. He wants to break Maris's record, so no charging the mound. That's an automatic suspension. So, Albert, see a little message there to Julian Tavares? Throw at his head.
Throw at his head. Mike Matheny gets plunked. He charges Tavares, and everything breaks loose. Everyone out on the field, the bullpens, etc. And the worst scene was Tavares grabbed by umpire Joe Brinkman. And watch what happens. He wrestles Brinkman to the ground, and then even after realizing perhaps he's the umpire, keeps beefing at him, keeps grabbing him. Finally, they separated the two sides. A very, very, very ugly scene. Let's first go to the Albert Belle situation, Peter, because it's a gray area. Obviously, the forearm shiver is not the way to go, but theoretically, in the rule book, he could hit Vina to prevent completion of the double play. Do you think he will be suspended or fined?
No, I don't. I think he might get a little fine, but I don't think he'll be suspended. He might be fined for some of the actions during the game. But you're right. This is a very difficult call to make. I mean, there'd been a hard tag by Vina, supposedly early in the game. He'd been in the way twice. Vina would have been wise to just flip the ball over to second base and get out of there. But there's another thing here. I mean, people want Albert Belle hung because it's Albert Belle, and Albert does occasionally do some things which upset some people, but let's face it, he's a star, Vina is not. The way I look at it is there isn't enough power in the commissioner's office. They've stripped all that. The anarchy that the owners created in 1991 has stripped away any of the ability to really to enforce any rules. If they were to suspend Albert for 4 or 5 games, the Players Association will win on this. But I do think it's hypocritical because, let's face it, if it were Fernando Vina who flattened Robbie Alomar and broke his nose, I don't think they do anything for Fernando Vina because it's a rich man's guild.
That's not the way to go. That everybody knows that's not the right way to go. Let's go to our Joe Morgan, who certainly played the position as second base and probably been involved in plays just like that. Joe, of course, ready for our Sunday night game of the week. But Joe, let me bring you in here about Albert Belle and everything that's surrounding him and the Indians. What kind of effect do you think this will have on the defending American League champs?
Well, when you're defending champions, everyone is shooting at you anyway. I mean, that's the nature of the beast. But if you look at the Cleveland Indians, they've responded very well. They have the best record in all of baseball, considering what happens tonight with the Atlanta Braves. But I really believe that the Cleveland Indians are handling this very well. Obviously, this is not the image that the management want to portray. But, I mean, this is baseball, and the players are going to have to settle this themselves. I think everything has to be kept in the clubhouse. The players are going to have to rally around either Albert Belle or get him to rally around what they want them to do. So I really think the Cleveland Indians have responded very well because, I mean, the record speaks for itself.
Joe, quickly, let me go back to you for a second. You've been involved in plays like that, I guess at second base. What is the rule? Does Belle deserve to be fined for that sort of hit on a second baseman?
Well, first of all, you take your own risk when you step in the baseline in the path of a speeding base runner. I mean, if he's running full speed and you step in front of him, that's up to you. But I really believe that Vina's opened himself up to be run over by just standing there. I mean, you have to at least be moving. Albert Belle has a right to run down the baseline. He has a right to run over you if you get in the baseline. I mean, that's the way the game is played.
All right, Joe, it's a tough position, and we will get back to you and John shortly with the Braves and the Reds. Thank you. Peter, let's go back to Tavares. So that was a bad scene with umpire Joe Brinkman. First, I guess Brinkman was behind him. He didn't know who it was. Could have been another player, could have been an opposing player. But once he realized it was the umpire, What will baseball do about that?
I think there's going to have to be a very stiff fine. I mean, listen, if I'm the umpires and they don't do anything to Julian Tavares, I get the union to walk out because, I mean, this is the umpire. This is the law. It has to be enforced. I don't care who was holding on to him. He was trying to get some peace. Then he saw Brinkman, started yelling at him, still had to be restrained. This is very serious. But as Joe said, the Indians do handle these things pretty well, and now they go home 23 out of the next 33 games at home. Maybe they can just be forgotten for a while.
Well, they'll go on. They'll just hit the ball and go on, as we go on here on Baseball Tonight. Well, they were in last place, dead last, and looking dead in the water. But from the depths of the National League Central, which, considering that nobody is at 500, can be pretty deep, the Redbirds have risen. And if they could complete a 3-game sweep against the Astros, they'd be tied for first place. Amazing. And here we go from Busch Stadium, pitcher's duel. Craig Biggio against Todd Aristotelmeyer. It's a pop-up. Alisea calls for it. Ray Langford says, no, it's my outtake. It's out of the way. Langford makes the catch. Strange day for Daryl Gomer Kyle. Bottom of the second, hits Langford in the foot. Got a great curveball, but
he does. But if he could command that curveball, he'd win 30 games every year. But as you can see, sometimes he doesn't have command of it.
And then here he plunks Danny Schaefer. So he's the 15th major leaguer to hit 4 batters in one game. I don't know if that's great. Todd Stottlemyre gets out of a jam.
Well, he's the money guy on this staff, the toughest guy, and great stuff. Listen, they just won 5 out of 6 from the Astros, got themselves back in the race.
He gets his first win at home. He was great on the road, but it's his first win at home. He's really mastered the Astros, and in a pitcher's duel, it's Stottlemyre over Kyle. By the way, the last National Leaguer to hit 4 batters in one game, 1957. Mo Drabowski, pre-Oriole. Mo Drabowski, thought you wanted to know that, as Stottlemyre pitched to Jeff. Giants at the Expos. Because of injuries, Dusty Baker using a totally different lineup. Tom Lava-Lampkin hit a cleanup. And then Dan Peltier, called up just a week ago, sits on a Martinez fastball. Javier and Dunston score 2-0 Giants. Oh, Henry, off Mark Leiter, the only mistake Leiter made all day, is his 21st, and here come the candy bars. His total career home runs going into this year were 21. Dan Peltier again. Daniel Boone Peltier.
The greatest player out of the Northern League since Ray Ordonez. 4
RBIs, that's a career high for him. As the Giants go on to salvage the last game of that 3-game set with the Expos. Mark Leiter overpowering. Goes the route with 11 strikeout, 5-hit, no-walk performance. The Expos have a 3-game hitting streak snapped. Robbie Thompson, who had whiplash on a diving play he made a few days ago, goes on the DL dated back to May 31st. Still to come. Game of the day between the Padres and the Phillies. We'll show you what happened. Some late heroics twice for the Phils. The Mets doing what comes naturally. Another 1-0 game, this time against the Dodgers. MRI tomorrow. Bottom of the 5th, Whitten it back. He broke his bat, and he hit a home run at 7-5 Phils. Top of the ninth, 8-5 Phils, and Ricky Batalico, he gets wild to Asmus.
Well, this is unusual. He's had a bad week. This is his second blown save. Every reliever goes through it. The great thing about Batalico, he's got the makeup to get out of it.
Well, he walked 2 here, and then Steve Dorsal Finley. Back, gone. 3-run homer in the 9th, and those pesky Pods have tied it at 8. Bottom of the 11th inning, tied it 8 with the bases loaded. 3-2 pitch, Todd Zeile fouls off what would have been ball 4. Swings at a low fastball, fouls it off, could have forced in a run. Zeile swings at a pitch that could have been ball 4 again. Flies to right. Jim Fregosi not too pleased. Bottom of the 12th, still 8-8. Ricky Otero, the base hit to right. Kevin Jordan scores. So the Phils blow a big lead. The Pods come way back, but the Phillies win it by the count of 9-8. The Padres missed their chance at their first sweep in Philadelphia since they did it in Connie Mack Stadium back in 1969, the first year that there were the Padres. Well, from 9-8, we go to the other end of the spectrum. Mark Clark Bar. We go from O. Henry's to Clark Bars. 14 consecutive scoreless innings going in today. That's Piazza, Hollingsworth, Mondesi, Delino, DeCoconut, to Shields, and Mike Flowers. 5 straight strikeouts for Mark Clark of the Mets against the Dodgers. Jeff Kent, he's been at several positions in the infield, but at third base here, boots it on the Juan Castro grounder. Scored an error. 3 batters later, it's Hollingsworth with a base hit to right, and Castro scores. Ishmael Valdez, not leaking oil today, strikes out Vizcaino looking at the fastball. Valdez at 7 Ks. Bottom of the ninth, it's a 1-0 game. Todd We Are the Worrell strikes out Carl Everett. Valdez says yes, or C, or you know what I mean. And who knows what they're speaking in the Dodgers dugout, but the Dodgers win it by the count of 1-0 as Valdez and Worrell combine it. And for the Mets, their 4th 1-0 game in their last 14. They've split the 4 games. It's like a throwback. Time to lower the mound. Too many 1-0 games. We got to lower the mound to 6 inches. Only kidding. Rockies and the Pirates. It's a 2-1 Rockies lead in the bottom of the 8th, and Marvin Freeman pitched well, and then the bullpen comes in. Darren Holmes, first pitch to Al Martin. Back, gone. Oh, no relief. Pinch hit, solo home run, 1 pitch. We're tied at 2. Then Lance Redhouse Painter walks Dave Clark 5 with the bases loaded. He's glad all over because Garcia scores it 4-2. John Habian Corpus, mea culpa. The wild pitch to Jay Bell. Mike Kingery scores. And Don Baylor, was he chewing on a pen? I think he was chewing on his own bullpen as they blow it 5-2.
He's thinking about Billy Swift, who's going to pitch tomorrow in Pittsburgh. 4 innings or 45 pitches. They need him.
They do need him, and we'll see how he does tomorrow as the Pirates beat the Rockies today. The bullpen collapses 5-2. Still to come on Baseball Tonight. The Angels trying to sweep the O's, but Baltimore told them they had no chance. Stay with us as we roar on. On our Sunday night game of the week, he ain't nothing but a crime dog. Who's hot and who's not? As we do on Sunday night, Roberto, remember the Alomar. I mean, he may hit 500 by the time the season's over. And Ken Griffey, homers early, then like a month drought. He's hot now. Mike Piazza, you saw him back playing today. When he's in, he's been extraordinarily hot. And John Smoltz has had a hot season. 2 hot months. 11 wins for the Braves. Who's not hot? That's another story. Otis, my man Nixon, has not been perfectly clear lately for the Toronto Blue Jays. Sterling Hitchcock doesn't even want to appear in his own film. Cubs and the Marlins. That's Amore Telemaco, man. Those guys watch baseball tonight, and we appreciate it. Jeff Conine, the Barbarian, into the potted plants. Gone. 2-0 Marlins against Amore Telemaco, man. Dave Magadan loops one. Conine. Boy, he was a barbarian at the plate and left. And the Marlins going to beat the Cubs with a count of 3-2. Kevin Brown, he's on. Evens his mark at 4, and Ford Rob the Flying Nen comes on with save number 12. Royals and the Blue Jays. And this was all about Bob Green Eggs and Hamlin. There goes Dan. Top of the 3rd against Marty Jansen. It's back, gone. 2-run home run to 5th of the year. 5-0 Kansas City. Now look at this. He's Don Mattingly down there. Oh, the hammer over to Tim Belcher. And the Royals behind the heroics of Belcher and Hamlin. And Montgomery would save number 14. Beat the Blue Jays by the count of 7-5. Some things never change. Some things change in a hurry. Last year, the Braves beat the Reds in the NLCS and returned their World Series crown. Of course, the Braves are back at it again this season, but the Reds? Well, that's another story. And as Phil Collins once sang, we all need to hear both sides of the story. That's why we go out to our Sunday night crew, John Miller and Joe Morgan. Guys?
Thanks, Chris, and we are excited to see the Atlanta Braves tonight. When you think of the Braves, you think of great pitching, and particularly when you see tonight's starter, Tom Glavine. He's one of the best around, Joe.
Well, Tom Glavine is a better pitcher now, John, than he was in 1991 when he won the Cy Young Award. The reason he's a better pitcher, he has a much better fastball now, and he can stay inside. Before he pitched away, now he can come inside consistently.
He's awfully tough. World Series hero for the Braves last year. Now, Leo Mazzoni, the pitching coach for the Braves, thinks that this staff, particularly those big 4 starters, rank with the best staffs who've ever pitched.
If you want to put it in perspective, you're looking at one of the greatest pitching staffs, greatest starting rotations of all time. And they've all been extremely good now over a period of time. And so, you know, 6 years running and thousands and thousands and thousands of innings. And I mean, you know all the numbers that what they do. But the bottom line is, and the very bottom line is they go to the post when it's their turn.
Now, when you think of the Braves, certainly you think of that great pitching, and particularly Greg Maddux and Tom Glavine. But right now, the man who is leading the staff is right-hander John Smoltz. He's won 11 in a row, and he's ahead of some of the top paces of all time. The last 30-game winner in the National League was Dizzy Dean. He had won 9 games at this point. Denny McLain, the last 31-game winner in all of baseball, had won 9 at the same time as well. Steve Carlton, Bob Welch, 27-game winners. He's ahead of them, too. John Smoltz. And, Joe, what do you think about him?
Well, I think of John Smoltz as having the best stuff on the entire Atlanta Braves staff. He just has not been consistent, but he is overpowering. The other pitchers use the changeup and off-speed pitches. He can overpower you.
All right, so we'll have the Braves with Tom Glavine and the Cincinnati Reds with John Smiley coming up. Back to you, Chris.
All right, guys, thank you. We look forward to the game at the top of the hour. Boy, the Braves, they are one of the greatest pitching staffs of all time. But what about the Reds, Peter? I mean, what's happened here? They won the division last year and were impressive.
Very simply, their good players are having bad years. 2 months worth of bad years. You look at the statistics this year versus last year, not only those numbers way down for Larkin, Sanders, and Boone, their production is down about 65%, but they also miss Ron Gant. I still think they'll end up with Kevin Mitchell healthy the last 2 months in that lineup. Shurik and Smiley also. Portugal and Berman 1-10 between them. But when good players with track records struggle as much as these guys have, I think you can be fairly sure that they'll put together 2 months that'll bring them up to their norms. They'll still be very much in this thing with Houston and St. Louis.
Well, and they have the luxury of that nobody in that division has really caught their pace at this point. Nobody's at 500. So as bad as they've been, they're certainly within hailing distance, Peter. Well, as for the Braves, you start with pitching, you heap on more pitching, and then maybe a little more pitching just for the heck of it. Annual Cy Young Award winner Greg Maddux, Tommy Glavine, John Smoltz, Steve Avery, and Mark Bay City Wohlers mowing him down in the 9th. That's the formula, as they won it all last year without exactly having murderer's row in the batting order.
Last year we won a World Series, and offensively we really didn't play well, but we were able to still go out and win.
The Braves won the 1995 World Series despite having the second lowest batting average in the National League. But they were second in the league with 168 home runs. This season, the Braves lead the league with 77 home runs and are on a pace to hit 235, which would break the National League mark of 221 set by the 1947 New York Giants and the 1955 Cincinnati Reds. But the key to the offense this season is that they're batting 276 through 53 games as opposed to 259 this time last season. Fred McGriff is the leader of the offense. He's batting 346 with 15 homers and 48 ribbies through 53 games. His career best batting average was 318 in 1994, and he's back on pace to hit 30 home runs for the 8th time in 9 seasons. But it's the kids who've had the biggest impact on this team. Chipper Jones has improved his batting average from a rookie year 265 to 300. Ryan Klesko has 16 homers, but he's also batting 290. As his second-year catcher, Javi Lopez, who has also hit 8 home runs. As the Braves look to defend their title, it can't be good news for the rest of the National League if, in fact, the Braves have become the National League's most balanced team.
This year I think most of the guys are just trying to make up for last year because a lot of guys struggled, and so far we're getting off to a good start.
Wow, the crime dog is average. Yes, he's gotten off to a great start. But, you know, Peter, the young kids, Jones and Klesko and Lopez, they're good professional hitters already.
We're talking about 3 young players in their second full years that could hit 75 home runs between them. Yes, they're very good.
Yeah, and hit 300, which is also very scary, along with all the pitching et al. California has finally gotten their sea legs, forging their way back above 500, buoyed by a nice outing Friday night from Mark Langston. Their next goal, get Jim Abbott on track against the Orioles. Could they sweep the Orioles? Well, top of the first, Mike Devereaux's at third base, Rafael Emerson Lake and Palmeiro. Oh, man, it just hung. And it's back, gone. Oh, what a lucky man he is. His 12th home run. Roberto, remember the Alomar? Batting lefty against the lefty Abbott. He's done that. A 3-run shot, gone, 5-0 Baltimore. Top of the third, Abbott's out. And Cal Ripken against Shad Williams, who they got from, he was in Angels in the outfield. Now he's pitching in the infield. 2-run shot for Cal, 5th in his last 4 games. But what a week Cal has had out west as the Orioles beat the Angels 14-1. And Jim Abbott was gone in 2 1/3. Scotty Erickson, what is he, 9 or 10 in a row out there in Anaheim? He's automatic out of the Hotel California. Palmeiro, Ripken, Alomar, each with 3 hits. And speaking of the Orioles, I mean, they had a big game today. Is Bobby Bonilla going to be part of what they hope will be a charge to the postseason?
Well, I think he still can be, but they've been looking around to trade him. There's been a lot of teams that they've explored. The two possibilities are the Cardinals for Pagnozzi and Jeff Parrott, or possibly the Pirates for Orlando Merced. But the way I look at it, that lineup is very heavy left-handed at the top, very heavy right-handed at the bottom. They need Bonilla, and I think if they get going and he gets going, it'll all die down.
All right, well, we shall see, though, as still to come on Baseball Tonight. The Yankees trying to wrap up their West Coast swing with a sweep of the A's. Could they do it? And in the Pacific Northwest, the Rocket Man trying to beat the Mariners. The Raiders, at the Rangers, Mike Milchin, not Mike Milken, no junk ball or a junk bondsman. Juan Gonzalez crushes it to left. His first homer since May the 3rd, but the second longest ever at Arlington Park. 5-3 Rangers. Ninth inning, still 5-3. Jeff Russell pitching. Mike Henneman not in there. He blew the save Saturday, and Russell to Dave Hollins. Sets it back, gone! The Twins are doing it to the Rangers again. 3 batters later, Pat Mears bloops it to right. Scott Stahoviak scoring. And the Twins, 2 straight days winning in the 9th inning, beat the Rangers 6-5 as Jeff Russell can't tame the Twins in inning number 9. Pat getting closer to Mahomes started that game, by the way. Yankees and the A's. Terry Grapes of Wrath Steinbach, the classy catcher. Face it, Ruben Rivera comes up throwing. Oh, man. Guns of Navarone on that team. Still 2-0 in the top of the second. Gerald Williams, the liner to left. Allen battle him of the Republic. Williams the second on the 2-base error, and then here come the Yankees.
Gerald has been such a huge part of this team's survival the last month. You saw him go down to second. Here, the ball gets away on ball 4 to Jeter. Now, Jeter gets picked off, gets in the rundown, but the Iceman scores.
Oh, the Iceman. Just tell us the Iceman cometh home. 5-3 Yanks, bottom of the 8th inning. Jose Herrera up the middle. Andy Fox makes the stop. 1-run scores. Torey Lovullo was hung up. Hits the old-fashioned West Coast pickle. And he's finally tagged out by Wade Boggs. And the Yankees hold on to... Well, they don't hold on to win it. They win it 11-4. As Kenny Rogers knew when to hold him. Ups his mark to 4-1. Bernie Williams, homer number 8. Tino Martinez, homer number 8 for the Yankees. A 5-4 West Coast swing, and often the Yankees go out on the West Coast, and you don't hear from them again. Joe Torre and company very happy in the plane ride home. White Sox and the Mariners. Top of the third, scoreless. Milt Tyler at first base. Wayne Hosey off of Bob Wolcott to right field. Jay Ferris Buhner. No Jay off. A catch against the wall. Tyler's still running. Oh, Milt. Eventually you have to get back. Double play. Bottom of the 4th, still scoreless. Darren, no brag, just fact. Base hit to left, off Roger Clemens. Paul Beal Sorrento to the plate. Safe. Bottom of the 7th, 2-1 Mariners. Buhner. High fastball from the Rocket. He knew it. Buhner knew it. Home run number 20 for Buhner. And Clemens pitched gamely, 6 2/3, 11 hits, only 3 runs. Bob Wolcott's come up with some big wins in his short stint for Lou Piniella as Seattle wins it by the count of 3-1. Still to come. Oh, Henri. Home run number 21 as we look at the home run honor list next. And our Sunday night game of the week. Barry Meadow-Larkin and the Reds trying to get going against the Braves. Can they win the rubber game of this 3-game set? John and Joe at the top of the hour, 8 Eastern, 5 on the West Coast. In orbit as we have plenty of guys over the 20 home run mark now. Henry with his 21st. Witten with a pair of shots for the Phillies in an exciting game. Sammy Say It Ain't Sosa closing in on homer number 20. As if for the American League, Craig Adepaquette with home run number 4. Manny Ramirez, Espinosa, Franco, they all went deep for the Tribe. And, of course, the Orioles had batting practice against Abbott and company out on the West Coast. Buhner with home run number 20. And Tino took him almost a month to get a home run, and he's got 8 for the Yankees. In case you tuned in late, don't ever let it happen again. But here are the scores. The White Sox took a double dip from Detroit. Minnesota in exciting fashion again over Texas. Orioles a couple of touchdowns against California. The Yankees finished their West Coast trip at 5-4. National League, the Giants come back to avoid a sweep in Montreal. The Mets, this time on the wrong end of a 1-0 game, as Stottlemyre pitches a beauty against Darryl Kyle, who hit 4 batters for the Stros in a losing cause. Phillies win it in 12 over the Padres. Wednesday, join Tommy Hutton and yours truly. We back to the future for the Mariners and the Indians in the first half of a double dip. All bets are off. The stand-up starting on the Royals Athletics. I don't think that stand-up open's going to happen with Seattle and the Indians in the first game, beginning at 7:30 Eastern Time on Wednesday night. Well, Peter, we mentioned Yankees and a West Coast trip in which, you know, they lose Cone. They've got lots of things swirling, but the dugout in the clubhouse seems very calm, and it's paying off in the win-loss column.
Well, last year, the 2 times they went to the West Coast, they got absolutely buried, really killed any chance of finishing first, and exhausted them. This time, they get Jimmy Key back this weekend, but I think the greatest revelation of this trip was watching those 3 kids, Gerald, Bernie, and, of course, Mr. Rivera. That might be the best defensive outfield in the American League in a couple of years. They can all run. 2 of the 3 can throw. It's really unusual, and they are fun.
Well, you point out that they all throw the ball, right? Or 2 or 3 have tremendous arms, and you really don't see, even on the very good teams, and a lot of times a good fielder doesn't have the good arm from left field.
Well, you get very few guys who can really throw today. I mean, a Larry Walker is so valuable, a Jay Buhner, a Tim Salmon, but they got 2 of these guys, Gerald and Rivera, both got great arms. We saw the throw that Rivera made today. It's really a testament to something that has been totally underrated over the last 5 years, and that is the Yankee farm system has been very close to the best in the American League. It's too bad they fired them all.
Yeah, it is too bad. Indians, Mariners, there's a series that they hit him at a Yellowstone Park. I think that Jake will see some balls leave the yard this week.
We might see a reliever or 2 in that series.
Yeah, we just might. Thanks for watching this edition of Baseball Tonight. Hope you've enjoyed it. For Peter Gammons, I'm Chris Berman. We're steamrolling into June. Will the assault on the home runs continue on the home run mark? Thanks for watching. Have a good week, everybody. Sunday night game of the week. You thought we were finished. We fooled you, didn't we? Braves at the Reds. John and Joe from Riverfront. Guys.
Thanks, Chris. Now, in its 7th season, it's the ESPN Sunday night game of the week. Tonight from Cincinnati, it's the Braves with Tom Glavine on the mound, taking on the Reds and National League MVP Barry Larkin. It's the ESPN Sunday night game of the week.